At 7 a.m., sipping coffee in my bathrobe, I spotted a red violation notice taped to my backyard gate. It declared my pool an unauthorized recreational facility, signed by Linda, the self-appointed HOA enforcer. Her relentless micromanaging had gone too far. Instead of fighting her petty rules, I transformed my pool into a thriving frog pond, flipping her control into a neighborhood victory. A ridiculous violation. The notice flapped like a taunt. Violation, unapproved use of private aquatic facility. I stared, incredulous. My pool, on my property, was somehow disturbing the neighborhood's auditory and visual peace. Linda's signature, complete with a doodled star, sealed the absurdity. This wasn't her first strike. Days earlier, she'd measured my pool's water level, claiming it was 1.5 inches too high for aesthetic uniformity. I'd laughed it off, assuming her clipboard crusade would fizzle. I was wrong. Linda, newly crowned director of the HOA's Compliance Committee, a role she invented, wielded her power like a scepter. Her garage meetings featured a tablet passed around with blurry photos of alleged infractions. My pool, silent except for my evening swims, was her latest target. No parties, no noise, just me, a 42-year-old graphic designer, swimming laps in my suburban Raleigh backyard. Yet, here was her notice, accusing me of disrupting the neighborhood. I sat on my deck, my border collie, Scout, at my side, and felt irritation harden into resolve. Linda didn't care about the pool. She craved control. Neighbors had whispered about her antics, fining Tom for grilling ribs, odor nuisance, scolding Maria for a non-compliant mailbox color. My pool was just her latest fixation. Sipping coffee, I muttered to Scout, "She wants a fight? Let's give her one." Not with anger, but with strategy. A clever counterattack. Linda's email arrived that afternoon, summoning me to an emergency HOA meeting about pool-related environmental concerns. I forwarded it to Tom, adding, "Circus tickets available?" He replied with a laughing emoji, "And I'm bringing snacks." At the meeting, Linda's garage was a farce. Folding chairs, stale cookies, and a whiteboard with her name circled twice. She flashed grainy photos of my Pullen inflatable raft, a ripple at dusk claiming it was 30% too reflective and a noise hazard. Neighbors stifled laughs. When she insisted I needed HOA permission to swim, I stood and asked calmly, "Should I drain it? Pave it over?" Flustered, she snapped, "Just comply." I smiled. Noted. No more swimming. That night, under moonlight, I Googled how to turn a pool into a wildlife pond. Forums buzzed with eco-enthusiasts who'd done it legally, sustainably, and defiantly. If Linda wanted compliance, I'd deliver it in a way she'd never expect. I called my sister, Jenna, a landscape ecologist. "HOA nonsense," she guessed. I outlined my plan. Convert the pool into a state-approved frog pond, native plants and all. She laughed. "You're evil." "I love it. No permits needed if it's native species." By noon, I was at a nursery, loading up on water lilies, cattails, and pickerel weed plants for shade and oxygenation. The cashier grinned when I explained my motive, saying, "Wish I could see her face." Back home, I drained half the pool, neutralized the chlorine, and arranged plants and stones. It looked like a marshy work in progress, but it was mine. Scout sniffed the reeds, tail wagging. A pond takes shape. At 7:45 a.m., Linda's gasp pierced the morning. Peering over the fence, she saw my swamp and stormed to my gate, banging like a debt collector. I let her wait, then opened the door with a cheery, "Morning, Linda." Her face twitched. "What is that?" I beamed. "It's a wildlife pond now. Eco-friendly, chemical-free, supports native frogs." Scribbling furiously, she muttered about health hazards. I leaned in. "Make sure to note it's state protected. Helps with paperwork." She huffed off, defeated but plotting. Over days, I perfected the pond. Jenna dropped off tadpoles and snails, and I added a solar fountain for subtle ripples. It was no longer a pull, it was a thriving ecosystem. Linda's next meeting featured a slideshow of my duckweed, claiming it bred mosquitoes. I'd anticipated this, handing out flyers proving frogs eat mosquitoes. Neighbors nodded. Tom winked. Linda's argument collapsed. She knocked again, oily with fake courtesy. "The HOA's drafting new water feature rules," she said. I handed her a state document. "Good luck. Ponds like mine are protected under the Urban Wildlife Act." Illegal to remove. Her jaw dropped. I offered a tour to see the tadpoles. She fled. A neighborhood rebellion. The first frog appeared 3 days later, a green sentinel croaking on a stone. Soon, for more joined, their chorus a nightly defiance. Linda, unraveling, stood on her lawn, yelling about decibel violations. Her handwritten notes noise pollution, aesthetic harm went straight to my shredder. I hosted a pond-warming party, inviting neighbors with lemonade and frog-themed napkins. Kids marveled at tadpoles, adults swapped Linda's stories. When she appeared, filming us, I offered lemonade. A kid asked if she'd name a frog. Her face froze, and she retreated. A county inspector, tipped off by Linda, arrived but praised the pond's balance, suggesting I register it as a wildlife habitat. I taped the certificate to my window, highlighted terms like ecological sanctuary facing her yard. Linda stared, speechless. Her next move was a flyer. Take back our peace, proposing a new HOA committee with her as chair, complete with frog curfews. It was laughable, but dangerous. If she won a vote, she'd suffocate the neighborhood. I rallied quietly. Neighbors shared their Linda grievances, fines for wind chimes, notes about vulgar wreaths. At her clubhouse meeting, packed with fed-up residents, Linda ranted about my grotesque pond. I took the mic, explaining the pond's benefits: mosquito control. Kids joined, invited others to speak. Stories poured out. Linda's umbrella angle measurements, her mailbox color obsession. Laughter erupted. The vote crushed her proposal 94-6. Her directorship was dead. A lasting victory. Linda vanished for days. A moving truck arrived 2 weeks later. Her house hit the market. No goodbyes. The neighborhood exhaled. Kids visited the pond, naming frogs. Someone donated a bench labeled Frog Haven. A local paper ran a story, Suburban Pond Sparks Eco-Revolution. I got speaking invites, but stayed low-key. Linda's cameras lingered, but her grip was gone. By the pond, under starlight, the frogs' croaks were a symphony of freedom. Linda's control had birthed something better: a community alive with nature and defiance. If anyone asks why I filled my pool with frogs, I'll say, sometimes the best way to win is to let nature croak louder than the rules.